Hi, I'm LilSteveRogers, and this week we're reviewing Super, so let's get to it. Um, I I didn't know what to think when I went into this film. It looked to me like uh, emo indie version of Kick-Ass, but and it kind of was like Kick-Ass. It had sort of the same basic premise, but it was a little different. Um, So what's this movie about? Rainn Wilson from The Office. He loses his wife, Liv Tyler, to a drug dealer played by Kevin Bacon, and so he decides by seeing a superhero on TV, like a superhero TV show, that he's going to dress up like a superhero, fight crime, and get his wife back. And from there, our movie unfolds, and it's a pretty fun time. I actually really enjoyed this movie. Rainn Wilson, uh, I don't necessarily like his brand of comedy. I think he's trying too hard to be like the Steve Carells of the world, which makes sense because, they were on The Office together. But it seems too it seems like he doesn't really have his own brand of comedy. All the good comedians have their own brand of comedy. Rainn Wilson is just sort of a comedic actor. He doesn't really have a brand. He's just sort of the weird, awkward guy, and we've seen this character in a ton of other movies. But I will say he does a fantastic job in this movie. He was very likable. You felt really bad for him when his wife leaves. When all this bad stuff happens to him, you feel legitimately bad for him. And that's a mark of a good actor. I just wish his career would have taken off a little bit more. And so he becomes this superhero called the Crimson Bolt, and he fights crime, and he is the most... even when he's a superhero, he's so awkward. His catchphrase is, "Shut up, crime." Whose catchphrase is that? Honestly, who uses that as their catchphrase? It's really funny. Yeah, and then you got Ellen Page. I have this weird thing for Ellen Page, for her quirky tomboyness. I guess I would say her quirky, short tomboyness. For some reason, I'm not usually into that type of girl, but for her, like, Ellen Page is beautiful. So, like, yeah. And, sure enough, she's really hot in this movie. And she's really good in this movie, too. She does get a little annoying at some parts because she gets really hyped up about being, Rainn Wilson's sidekick. But from that, you see a lot of weird antics. There's a really weird... should I spoil this? Yeah, I'll spoil it for you. There's a really weird sex scene between Ellen Page and Rainn Wilson. It's so funny, but so awkward at the same time. And, oh man, it was weird. I'm not gonna lie. If you don't watch this with your parents. Don't watch this with any older adults, because it is violent. There's a scene where Rainn Wilson's having a thought. There's a little thought bubble up to the side, and you see him getting ass raped in prison. That was weird, but funny. Who else? Liv Tyler. I mean, she's okay. When I see her in movies, I just still sort of feel the same thing. Like, it's just Liv Tyler. Like, she does give an okay performance, and, like, I feel bad for saying this, but she just doesn't really leave that much of an impression on you when you have people like Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page, and actually Nathan Fillion's in this movie for a little bit, so that's pretty cool. And even Kevin Bacon. Speaking of which, Kevin Bacon plays one hell of a villain, as we've seen in the X-Men First Class movie. And he's a really good villain here. He's a lot of fun. He's very funny. But, yeah, back to Liv Tyler. Like, for me, that's the weakest point of this movie, is that I don't understand why Rainn Wilson is fighting so hard to get this wife who really just doesn't care, and so obviously does not care about him or anything. James Gunn directed this movie. He's currently directing Guardians of the Galaxy, and I really hope he takes off as a director, because he got some pretty good shots in this movie, and it's very well written. As far as like superheroes in real life type movies go, I still prefer Kick-Ass, and I'm really looking forward to Kick-Ass 2. But Super is still a pretty enjoyable time. It's very funny. You get to see Dwight from The Office pummeling somebody with a wrench, and for some reason, it's just funny. It's so funny. But of course, if you're not into superhero movies, if you're not into indie films, this is not for you. I will say that. But I personally enjoyed it. I think the majority of people that watch the DeFranco Movie Club will enjoy this movie. And that's all I really have to say about it. So, to sum it all up, go watch Super on Netflix. Very funny movie. I'm LilSteveRogers. I'll see you later.